So now we completed two angas of Ashtanga Yoga, yamas and niyamas. And five yamas, five niyamas, their siddhis, their role in the entire scheme of yoga. We discussed and how they are helpful and why they are placed in the first and second place. That also we saw. Now today we will begin with the third anga, third step of Ashtanga Yoga, which is asana. Now about asana, everybody knows because asana is the most popular part of this entire scheme of yoga. Many people take yoga as asana only. So now talking about asana, there are three sutras which are dealing with asanas. Now there are total 195 sutras of Maharishi Patanjali divided in 4 chapters. First chapter has got 51 sutras, second has got 55, third has got 55, and fourth has got 34. So out of these 195 sutras, 3 sutras have been devoted to asana. Sutra 46, 47, and 48. So first we will just understand and read the meaning of these 3 sutras. The 46th sutra says, Sthira Sukham Asanam. Just 3 words are there. Sthira Sukham Asanam. So this sutra is giving a definition of asana. What according to yoga asana is, that is being defined here. And the definition is Sthira Sukham Asanam. So that physical position in which there is steadiness and also a feeling of comfort. Sukha can be translated here as comfortable. Sukha also means pleasure, Sukha also means joy. But here it will be more from the point of view of comfort. So that posture in which one experiences steadiness and comfort, that is what is yoga posture. So now we have to keep this definition always in mind whenever we are performing yogasanas to qualify. Now asana also has to be understood as any position of the body is considered to be asana. Any sitting position, any position in which we are holding the body, it is considered as asana. Asana is also the place where we sit. The material which we use for sitting, that is also asana. So for example, if you are sitting on a chair right now, that is also asana. If you are sitting on ground, you must have put there between the ground and your body, there must be some cushion, something. So that is also asana. But and any body position is also asana. But here we have to understand what is yogic asana. Here we are not talking about other asanas, but we are talking about yogic posture. What constitutes yogic posture? So it has to be, covered under this definition by way of considering two things. One is the steadiness and the other is comfort. So whenever yogasanas are being performed, these two things will have to be kept in mind. Now, you see, when we talk about asanas, if we go according to this definition, very few asanas are there where we feel steady and comfortable. In most of the asanas, we are not comfortable. We are trying, we are struggling. So, for example, stretching asanas like Tadasana, for some people whose body is stiff, Paschimottanasana, Yoga Mudra, Ardhamatsendrasana, Bhujangasana, Dhanurasana, Sarvangasana. Now all these postures are such that the body becomes very, very agitated. Body is not steady, neither it is steady nor it is comfortable. So now, does that mean that these are not asanas? And then when we consider this idea of steadiness and comfort, then it appears that he is referring to the meditative posture, because that is supported by the contention of when we look at the other scriptures which are there, like Bhagavad Gita. Now Bhagavad Gita in chapter 6, from Sutra shloka 11 to 14, is describing what is a yogic posture. So there also, the description of posture is there. But there it appears that he is referring only, Krishna is telling only about a meditative posture. One single posture where certain attitude is maintained, certain, steadiness of the body is maintained. And the shloka also tells that the spine has to be kept erect, the head and the neck and the spine have to be in one line, and the gaze is to be fixed on Nasagra. See, that way in yoga we find that gaze can be fixed at various places. There are mudras. So Bhuchari mudra is there, for example, or Bhumadhya is there. So, but in Bhagavad Gita they talk about Nasagra. So eyes are to be fixed there. And then the mental attitude, what should be the activity of the mind, that is also described. So from that point of view, it appears that the asanas which are referred to here are is referring to basically some kind of meditative posture. Then the question comes that why there is a big list of asanas. Hatyog Pradipika, we find 15 asanas. Swatmaram mentions 15 asanas. Traditionally, Hatyog considers 84 asanas as yogic postures. It's an old list. So from old literature, we find there are 84 postures which are considered as yogic postures. When we look at the scriptures of Hatha Yoga, there we find that Hatha Yoga Pradipika is mentioning 15 slokas, Geranda Samhita is mentioning 32 asanas, and even the Vyas Bhashya, which we are referring to while studying the Sutra, there are 11 asanas which are mentioned. Some considered 12, some considered 11, but if we look at the list, it appears that there are 11 asanas. And for that, I will ask you to understand much deeper aspect of asanas by referring to volume 1, Encyclopedia Yoga, volume 1 of Yoga Institute. If you read that, in that, a lot of good work was done. All the scriptures where the asanas are mentioned and how many asanas are mentioned right from the ancient scriptures, that has been listed out there. And the definition of the asana, role of the asana, all that has been given in great detail. So this research work was done, and then this encyclopedia volume 1 was published. So asana has been dealt in great detail in this volume. So all can refer to this volume and read to know more about asanas. And there is one advantage here, that certain things which we cannot cover in this class, those subjects are also covered in this encyclopedia. For example, how the preparation should be done, what are the considerations while doing asanas, and what is the difference between the yogic asana and the other exercises, other physical activities, various kinds of trainings are there. So what is the difference between those and the yogic asana? So those ideas are there. But here we have to understand that asana is very, very important aspect of yoga, in this sense that it is treating the body, and body has been a really very great concern for everybody. And later on, when we are talking about Sutra 47, we will come to this idea about what are the various views related to body. But here, before you know touching on that, let us go to this asanas, sthirta and sukh. So there are two aspects here. While doing all this research, I came across one writing by a Russian author. It was Russian or Austrian author, and Dr. Jaydev had recommended that you read this. And then I read it. I was going through it. That title of the article, which has been written by this author, his name is Alfred Janek. He has written a small work where he is talking about methodical principles in yoga. So, which are the methodical principles applied in the Ashtanga Yoga? So, he is trying to come to a definite conclusion as to what is it which is being addressed by the technique of yoga, which is antagonist to yoga, which is against yoga, and how these techniques are helping to make body conducive or mind conducive for the yogic mental state. So there, this in methodical principles, he says that every technique of yoga is working on some part of our personality which is responsible for our weaknesses, our pain, our suffering, and pulling us down. There are factors in our personality which pull us down, which make us weak, which are responsible for the kind of suffering we go through life. So each of the technique is addressing some aspect of our personality which is bad or which is undesirable. And this we have seen, which is amply clear from whatever discussions we had on yamas and niyamas. So all the yamas together, if we see, if we can look at them individually, we have gone into great detail if you recall the discussions on that. So ahimsa we studied deeply, satya we studied deeply. Now you see ahimsa and satya and other yamas, they are directly working against those propensities, those attitude in our personality which are responsible for we doing wrong things, self-harming things, self-defeating things. So getting angry and indulging in violence, it is something which is responsible for a lot of suffering for us. And we often do that. We often, under the influence of emotions, for example, we get angry. And when we get angry, we say things, we do things which are not in our interest, which are in nobody's interest. Nobody benefits from that. And we suffer as a result maximum. So yamas are addressing those kind of attitudes. Niyamas are again addressing certain weaknesses which are there, or which lacks which are there. We need some qualities which are not there, and they are just working on those areas where the attitudes, right attitudes are developed. So what is it on which asana is working? Now this word sthira and sukha, it provides us the clue as to what is the approach here. Sthirta of what? Sthirta, steadiness of what? Steadiness can be of the body as well as mind. But here primarily it is talking about steadiness of the posture, steadiness of the body. So against what this principle is working? If one says that the purpose of yogasana is to acquire steadiness, then are we not steady? Is our body not steady right now? Yogis would say absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because if we pay attention to our body, the way we are sitting, unconsciously, I have started only 10 minutes back. But within these 10 minutes, everyone has changed his body position several times. Either neck is done like this, or the hand is lifted, or the back is straightened, or one has come forward. So the body is not steady. And unconsciously, we keep doing that. Our body is all the time agitated. We keep changing our position. Unless some kind of discipline has been already brought into the body, some kind of practices have already been done. People who are not accustomed to this kind of discipline, you will find some people even have that habit of shaking their body unnecessarily, involuntarily. Some kind of movements will keep on. They are sitting and they'll just tap on the fingers. Or some people will keep doing this, or some people will keep doing this, something or the other. So this is the kind of state of body always, and body is always agitated. So that happens unconsciously. Now here one has to consciously bring steadiness to the body. So when we assume a yogic posture, we try to remain steady without moving. That is the first thing. And then if we try to do that, you will find that if I don't say that you sit in a particular position, you might be sitting in that particular position for quite long time. But if I say that now for 5 minutes, you will not move your body even 1 centimeter and just remain fixed there. If I tell this to you, and if I put this suggestion in your mind, and if you are holding your body steady, then you will find there's a lot of agitation created. You're trying to put the effort and you're trying to, keeping the body steady, then we feel more like moving the body. So that's where this idea of sthirta and sukh is not there. Why we change position of the body? Simply because we become uncomfortable. If we are sitting in a particular position for a long time, we feel uncomfortable and we are forced to change it. And then we assume the most comfortable position. We don't have that kind of time. Physically, we are not together. If it was a classroom situation where asanas were being taken, then we would have gone into the great detail of it. But you can try it out. You can try it out and you assume any later on perhaps, because right now we don't have that kind of time. Later on, you can try it at home, that you assume any position which you feel is most comfortable and just try to remain in that position for maybe say 5 to 10 minutes, not moving and just maintaining, and see what is happening. It will be a revelation, it will give a very good insight into the nature of body we have. Those who have trained their minds, those who have trained their body, because in this group there are lots of teachers who have been practicing yoga since long, so they must have acquired certain amount of steadiness. But even then, if you try to do it on your own, just take any comfortable position and say that now 10 minutes I am not going to budge, I'm going to maintain this, and see what is happening, what kind of signals are coming from the body. And those experiences which we will gather from this, they will tell us why it is necessary to practice yogasana in the form of sthira sukham asanam. So sthirta is directly working against the agitations and disturbances which are there in the mind. So here too, in terms of the physiology, if we look at it, there are two aspects which are being tackled. One is the energy aspect which is being tackled. And what is the energy aspect? Agitation is always connected to disturbed energy. So when we remain steadiness, when we remain stable, we are controlling that energy part. And sukha is not a physical thing. Sukha is a comfort. Where do you feel comfort? Comfort is always felt in mind. It's an emotional state. Sukh is an emotion. Sukh, feeling of comfort, feeling of ease. It's something which we feel. So now the second aspect which is being tackled here is the feelings, the emotions. And there is also a mental part. Energy part again comes in the next sutra. And there is also mind part which comes in the next sutra. We will look at that. But here we have to understand this tirtha and sukham. These are the two criteria. Now the question which was raised, why so many asanas are there in Hatyopadipika? Why so many asanas are there in yoga? Why they talk about 84 asanas? Now you see, it may happen that when the person begins yoga, his body may not be healthy. His body may not be worthy of doing hard practices of yoga, which comes later on, like pratyahar, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana. For that, the body may not be fit. So the body has to become fit for that. And that answers that why so many asanas have been. And if we look at this Encyclopedia 1, again you will find in our Yoga Institute, founder has divided all the 84 asanas in two categories. One is the meditative category and the other is cultural category. So for meditative, any one meditative posture can be selected for a long-term practice so that one masters it. Now there the suggestion is that keep on doing that one asana which is selected by way of meditative posture for a long time. And as far as the weaknesses of the bodies are concerned, they are to be eliminated by cultural asanas. Which are cultural asanas? Tadasana, Yog Mudra, and several other asanas where the bending is involved, stretching is involved. They all have been put under the category of cultural asanas. So why they are called cultural asanas? Through that we culture our body to become fit for doing yoga posture, to go to a state where it becomes possible for us to enjoy this tirtha and sukham, comfort and steadiness, to be able to enjoy. Now this steadiness is coming again, in Hatyok Pradipika also it comes. Again it comes in Viranda Samhita. Sthairya is one of the important aspect of it. And strength is also there. So Hatyok Pradipika goes into a deeper aspects. They are talking about more things. So when we are talking about this cultural asana, the body is cultured here, and in that you will also find relaxation postures are also there. So they are also for the culture of the body. They bring body to a level where one can enjoy that meditative state, and then one can go into the sthirta and sukh. So this is the aim. This is the aim. And even in Hatyok Pradipika, they do talk about, before beginning this pranayam, they say that if the body is flabby, if the body is having uh, some kind of imbalance in the three doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha, it needs to be corrected. So there they have suggested, even the kriyas for that. So yoga goes a long way in correcting the body. But a person who's given to this meditative state in Raj Yoga, like in Patanjali's system, meditation is the primary thing, and a single posture is the primary thing. I'll tell you that even in Sankhya, in Jnana Yoga, they do talk about it. I had mentioned it to you that when we went to meet Swami Bhaskar Aranya at Madhupur in Jharkhand, in Kapil Mutt, because it was a long time desire for seeing that place. So when we introduced ourselves, Swamiji asked us, three of us were there. So he asked us, from where you have come? We told them that we have come from Yoga Institute. So what do you do there? So we told them that we are teachers there and we teach. So you also must be teaching asanas. So yes, so how many asanas you teach? So we told them that several asanas are there, and then he said that you see that is what not yoga is. Yoga is just one asana. So here you will not learn so many asanas, only one asana which is recommended, and that you have to utilize. And then he also, when we asked him that, why some activities are not being done at the this Kapil Mutt, historically, when the history will be written, this Kapil Mutt is responsible for revival of Sankhya system of philosophy single-handedly. In India, thousands of ashramas are there, thousands of monasteries are there, thousands of teachers are there teaching several things. But none was teaching Sankhya before Kapil Mutt. Now you will find so many. If you open YouTube, you will find so many discourses on Sankhya. But 10, 15 years back, 20 years back, not a single person knew what Sankhya was, and very few people, those who were from that field where they were learning, they only knew that what Sankhya was. So Swami Bharyanand Aranya was the person who single-handedly revived Sankhya. And the interest of the great scholars of world was drawn towards Sankhya, and many people, many intellectuals, many great people of world, they started studying Sankhya under the influence of what Swamiji did. So we like the place where we get nourishment, the place where we grow, the place where we become strong. It is like mother. That's why wherever we have learned, that place becomes like a mother, because it nourishes us, strengthens us, it gives us clarity, it makes us stand on our legs. Intellectually, it improves us. So like that, the place where we grow, the place from where we learn, we always care that that place should become good place and it should always perpetuate, it should go on. So having these concerns in mind, we just asked him that why this Kapil Mutt is such an important place. Why no activities are there? Because Swamiji comes out only for 4 days in a month. Rest of the 26 days, the ashram is just like a uh, forest. Nobody goes. Only the person gardener is there who will work, or somebody, one or two persons will be there maintaining. Otherwise, there will be no activity. No person will come. It is isolated totally. So he said, such a beautiful place it is, and such an important place it is. Why not, do some activity? He said, what kind of activity you expect? So we were short of words, and then he said, look here. If people come here, we will tell him sit in this asana and do meditate. That's all. Nothing else. Now, how many people will come here if this is what is done? And that we are seeing that people are interested in learning more and more asanas, so they are looking at new places. I told you last time that people are advertising themselves like from the number of asanas they teach. So when some student comes and inquires, so student says, I'm interested in joining this class. Teacher will say, don't join there. They will teach you only 20 asanas. Come to me, I'll teach you 40 asanas. Now, this is the state of affairs today as far as the asanas are concerned. It has become purely physical activity, whereas asana is a step in the Ashtanga Yoga. And that step has to fulfill its purpose. And what is that purpose? We will see. So, this is the position of asana. And even in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which has got so many, Hatha Yoga talks about 84 asanas, but ultimately you see, so Atmaram, when he talks about 15 asanas, after listing out all the asanas, he says, out of all the asanas, 4 are the best. So in Padmasana is there, and then finally he says, out of this 4 also, the best is Siddhasana. You should practice only one asanas. That if you have done Siddhasana, then you need not do anything. So not only Patanjali seems to be in favor of one meditative posture, but also the Atyopadipika, even Swatmaram, who is belonging to Gorakshnath tradition, who's a direct disciple of Natha Sampradaya. He's a Natha. So he talks about his inclination is again towards one posture. So one may culturally do all the asanas to train the body, but then one should focus only on one asana, and continuously one can do that asana. There are so many instances, like Dr. Jaydev's views on asanas. Dr. Jaydev always emphasized that do less asanas, but do them well. Even if you do one asana, you can get all the benefits. That is what he used to say. But unfortunately, we don't believe in that one asana can give us so much. So these are the areas which we need to look into, which we should think about. So from that perspective, we have to understand this particular sutra, sthirta and sukh. Are we really striving for that? And when is it when we are feeling a complete steadiness of body? And because the steadiness of the body is there, there's also a feeling of comfort. Now the next sutra, what this next sutra say? Yatna Shaitilya Ananta Samapatibhya. So, first sutra defined what is yogasana. Second sutra is talking about how this asana is to be perfected. What is the methodical principle involved? What exactly is to be done while performing the asana? So, Prayatna Shaitilya Ananta Samapatibhya. Now, this is where we have to understand that yoga posture stands apart from any kind of exercise which is being practiced all over the world. Asanas are totally different from those exercises. Because normally, if when we are talking about some kind of physical posture, we have a certain approach towards doing that or performing that posture. And what is that approach? It is like whatever other physical activities we are doing, same way we approach the asanas. So normally asana is approached by way of it is a kind of physical exercise. but it is not a physical exercise. Because when we look at the physical exercises, they have got different purpose in mind, be it gymnastic or be it calisthenics. So many things are there. If you read volume 1, it will become clear, how the difference is there. In yoga, the purpose is totally different. The purpose is given in Sutra 48, Tato Dvandva Anabhighata. The body has to stop becoming, the body has to stop being an obstacle or a nuisance or a disturbance or a source of distraction. So body has to be transcended. That is what is the aim of yogasanas. Now we can consider when we are doing asanas, do we think about this transcending idea? Are we able to really come to a stage where the body stops being a botheration for us? Body stops being of any concern to us. We are able to go beyond the body. Now that is the aim in yoga. Now, is that aim in other exercises? For example, gymnastic, what is the aim? In other sports are there, so many other sports are there. What is the aim? Except, now here I'll again mention, except the Zen meditation, except the Zen activity, like Zen, last time I talked about Zen archery. Although it is a physical thing, but there also the aim is not the proficiency in the shooting of the arrow, but the aim is to transcend, aim is to go into a higher state. That higher state can be equated to what is samadhi, or it can be equated to a kind of transcendence where one is not bothered. So in Zen system we find, and to a certain extent same thing happens in Tai Chi also, but in Tai Chi also most of the time, like yoga, it has been reduced only to the physical thing. There is a spiritual aspect to it which is totally forgotten. So these are the few disciplines where this kind of ideas are there. In yoga also, when they talk about this Prayatna Shaithilya Ananta Samapattibhya, whatever physical act is done, there is an effort involved. Do we recognize that effort? Do we recognize that effort? And what do we do when we, we are doing asana? For example, look at the people who are doing talasana. Now, in talasana, one has reached the final position. If it is done with both hands, the hands are up and one is doing Tadasana. What happens at the end of Tadasana? When one is in posture, what happens? There is an effort involved in going into that position. So first you stand, feet apart, legs parallel, and then you empty the lungs, then you inhale, and then you go there. There is an effort involved. And after reaching that posture, are we able to really bring about this idea of Prayatna Shaitilya? Tadasana, I'm giving an example, but let us see whatever postures we are doing. When we are doing our asanas, is this idea in our mind that I am reaching out, I'm trying for this Prayatna Shaitilya? For that, Prayatna has to be understood. What is the Prayatna involved? You are getting the point. So in any physical activity, the effort is there. In asana also, the effort is there. But what is recommended? You slacken the effort, you relax yourself. But for relaxing the effort, one has to become aware of the effort. So are we aware of the effort which is there? Now this is very interesting. And the approach here is, the second word is Ananta Samapattibhya. The mind also has to be engaged in something big, something very vast, something maybe like Shunya, nothingness, or something like infinity, something like space. So in yoga tradition, you will find that the space is talked about prominently. So when one is loosening, slackening the efforts, one feels as if the body has become empty. The body has become empty space and it has merged with the space around. So the infinite space which is around us, that space, and the space which is covered by the body, within the body, the space within the body, and the space outside, they have become one. Something like that, some kind of concentration on that kind of attitude, or it could be God, or it could be, infinite space one can think of. Now, same thing happens in case of Tai Chi. It happens instead of space, what they do there, it is the energy. Everywhere there is energy. In our body also there is energy. So the energy outside and the energy within, it becomes one. Our body becomes porous. As if the body is not there, the energy is flowing. Body is totally empty. Energy is coming, going, and every cell of body is becoming one with the energy outside. So these kind of concepts, these are just, I'm just giving you these ideas to understand how the asanas are perfected, and what is the idea behind this. So Prayatna Shaitilya Ananta Samapatibhya. Now, when we talk about Prayatna Shaitilya, we will not be able to do asanas. I don't know. You might have eaten something, maybe how you are sitting, where you are sitting, I do not know. So we'll not be able to do asanas because we are not together in a hall. But one simple exercise which normally I do whenever I am discussing about these ideas, that we can do. So what we can do is, you are sitting comfortably now, just become aware of your posture. And what you have to do is just raise your hand like this. Okay. The other hand is placed on the knee or table, wherever you are. Only one hand you have raised. Now, you see, as you can see, as you can look at my hand, the fingers are curved. This is the natural position of the hand because the hand is completely relaxed. So now what is to be done? We have to keep the fingers straight. So just go on straightening the fingers. Go on straightening the fingers. Now you see, when you did this, there was an effort involved. Now keep them straight. Experience the effort involved in keeping the fingers straight. Become aware of that effort through which the fingers are kept straight. Become aware of that effort. So feel the thumb, feel the index finger, the effort which is there. You are holding this position consciously. So there is an effort involved. Middle finger, ring finger, pinky, small finger. Become aware. Let your mind be there. You can close your eyes. Feel the effort in keeping these fingers straight. Now, try to withdraw that effort. Try to relax. Without allowing the fingers to bend, let the fingers be straight. But you are withdrawing that effort. You are relaxing that effort. So now again, go to the thumb. Thumb remains in the same position, but become aware of the effort and tension, because effort would mean tension. Effort would mean little amount of stress. Remove that. Remove that. Let the thumb be very relaxed without changing position. Go to the index finger. Feel the index finger. Withdraw all the stress. Relax the effort there. Go to the middle finger. Feel it. Withdraw all the effort, all the stress. Ring finger. Feel it. Withdraw the effort. Small finger. The back of the hand. Feel it properly. The palm. Withdraw all the effort from keeping it straight, and yet the hand remains straight. In short, what we are doing, we are relaxing. We are relaxing the effort which was there in keeping the hand straight. Now try to feel the entire hand and what was the state earlier and what is the state now. Notice the difference. If you can relax further, relax further. Feel. As you withdraw all the tension from the hand is becoming relaxed. Okay. Now bring the other hand up and feel the difference between both the hands. Feel the difference between both the hands. Okay. So what was the experience? Anyone would like to share? What was it?
Thoughts were less.
Yeah. Yeah, mind was deeply engaged in that, totally focused on that. So now you see, this is an important clue. Are we so focused when we are doing asana? As we were doing now, are we so focused on the entire body? Because entire body gets involved in asana. So are we that focused as we are focused as we did in this small technique? And then are we able to withdraw the tension? Because the moment we are assuming some awkward position, for example, you are doing Yoga Mudra or you are doing Paschimottanasana. So when you are bending forward, there is a stretch in the back. There is a compression of the abdomen. So there is a stress created. And with effort, we are maintaining that position. So are we really able to do that? Now the second, this will be homework for you. This will be homework for you. How it is to be done? Take any position which you find is difficult for you. So let us select, if Paschimottanasana is difficult, do Paschimottanasana. It could be Ardha Matsyendrasana or it could be Yoga Mudra. Now, see what happens is, in a single effort, we normally, when we are doing this asana, there has to be a preparatory mental state also, and breathing also has to be done in a certain way. So when we are bending in Paschimottanasana, first we inhale, and then while exhaling, we go into that position. Or there are certain postures where we are required to empty the lungs and then start the posture by inhaling. Now, these are also important consideration when we are doing asanas. Normally, we just say that now go in this position without taking into account how the breathing is and what kind of breathing should be emphasized at that time. So now this can be tried at home, that we go into Paschimottanasana in single effort. As much as we can go, we go. After that, once you have reached the final position, after that, no effort should be there. No further going down. Then just become aware of the effort which is already put. The spine is stressed, the abdomen is compressed. So pay attention to the spine. Wherever you are feeling the stretch, that means the effort is there. Pratna is there. Just slacken it, loosen it. Let it go. Let go of all the stress from that part. And even in the abdominal area which is compressed, if we pay attention to that compression and then we try to become comfortable, immediately we'll find that there is a change taking place, and then we become very comfortable. Even compressed abdomen also can be comfortable. So we remain for few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, If you like 3 minutes, remain in this position. And after 3 minutes, take a small inhalation and try to go further and see what happens. Maybe there also you can remain. Now, people have to be very careful. If you are having cervical spondylitis, then don't try it too hard. In both the cases, Yog Mudra as well as Paschimottanasana. If cervical issues are there, then you have to keep the neck little straight and ahead. Don't go too deep. Otherwise, it may aggravate. Because if we are going into it for 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, depending on our inclination. Now, you see, every time you will find that you are becoming aware and you are relaxing, you are able to go further. Those who are not able to really touch their head, even in some days, they will be able to touch their head if asana is to be done. Now, this is what is suggested, that we go on relaxing the effort. For that, we become aware of the effort. This is one way of doing it. The other is Ananta Samapattibhya. Now, this Ananta Samapattibhyam is again a very, very important idea. Approaches are two. One is the physical approach, the other is the mental approach. Body can be made steady by two methods. If the mind is steady, the body becomes steady. Or if the body is steady, the mind can become steady. Either way, we can do it. Now, again, we can do little exercise, but then for today, this is enough. But just let us understand. It will become clear from an example. When you are watching a movie, which is very interesting, which is very gripping, then what happens? Sometimes we are sitting in a very awkward position, but the movie is so interesting that we are just looking at it and just mind is engaged in that. We forget about the body. And as long as that gripping scene is going on, we don't think about body at all. In a way, involuntarily, we have transcended the concern of the body. But that is involuntary because the situation is so gripping. And having sat like that for some time, suddenly we realize, oh, my back is paining. Now let me become straight. This realization comes later on. But as long as the gripping scene is there, we are just holding our posture. Sometimes we hold our breath also. The breathing also becomes very, very little breathing is there, and we are holding the breath and we are watching. Now that is possible when mind is engaged, but here it is happening involuntarily. And in yoga, whatever is done, it is voluntary. So this way, if we are engaging mind in some kind of bigger aspects, like I told you that one can, think of the space and one can just get lost into it, or the energy, one can get lost into it. Then also the body becomes steady. So some commentators, they have said that asana can be perfected by Pratna Shaitilya or Ananta Samapattibhya. Some commentators clearly hold that for mastery of the asana, the Pratna Shaitilya and Ananta Samapattibhyam both have to go hand in hand. And Buddha has talked about this kind of posture, this physical training. It's very important that the asanas are performed in a correct manner. So now you see, every time we perform this asanas, no matter what kind of asanas are there, the minimum kind of effort has to be there. So we try to relax the muscles, we try to relax the body, and we bring in a lot of concentration, we bring a lot of voluntary attention to whatever is being. So even if the finger is becoming straight, we become aware, we do it with awareness, we know why we are doing it, and we are doing it consciously. It's not automatically happening. There's no hurry into it. One is not in a hurry to reach the posture. Very slowly, very consciously, very deliberately. That is why this ahimsa principle is applied to one's own body also. So asanas have to be done in such a way that we are not violating, or we are not hurting our body. We are taking care of the body in such a way that very gently we are going into the posture. then becoming aware. Now you see, this is the difference between all other physical activities and asanas, that it is to be done very slowly, very deliberately. There's no hurry and no jerks are there. This is the way asana is to be perfected. So this homework can be tried. Next time maybe we can do little sharing on this. It's a vast topic. It's a very vast topic. So third shloka I am not touching because too many facts, too many things will be there. So here we have to understand that sthirta, sukh, and pratna shaitilya. These are very crucial. The mental concentration, the mental aspect, the attention part, the voluntary part, that is also very crucial. So whenever asanas are to be done, these ideas have to be kept in mind while performing these asanas. Then we can move towards what is known as yogic asana, what yoga wants from asana. That can be gained, that can be achieved. This is the contention. Oh, it's
So
already,
Niranjan, this merging with the space, I didn't understand at all.
yeah.
Merging with the space or energy, I didn't understand at all.
That is, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
It's
So
like, the space is outside also and inside also. But we are too identified with the body. We are too attached to the body. So we are taking body as a very solid thing, body as a very heavy thing, tamasic. But as we become more and more relaxed, the body becomes so light, and like a very good shavasana. It will be like if you have done very good shavasana, sometimes their body becomes one with the earth, as if the body is not there. The feeling comes as if the body is not there. This comes even in Yogendra Laya. In Yogendra Laya, often we feel as if the body is not there. So body becomes so light and mind becomes so engaged in the activity that body is totally forgotten, as if it is not there. Something like that.
which is that one asana that Swami Bhaskaranand
No, he
said?
said any meditative posture. He will go for Ardha Padmasan, Sukhasan, Padmasan.
Okay.
Like Hatyok Pradipika talks only about Siddhasan. Siddhasan has got certain advantage according to Hatha Yoga. So they will recommend Siddhasan. Or basically, if you go to any traditional teacher, they will ask you which is the main posture, and you have to assume that posture always, and you have to sit in that posture for other things, for doing pranayam, for doing dharana, dhyan. That posture is to be practiced.
We at the Yoga Institute are following the Raj Yoga, right?
Yeah,
The Ashtang Yoga is the Raj Yoga.
Ashtanga Yoga is the Raju.
And doctor used to earlier talk about some marma sthanas
Yeah,
very early. Which are those? And uh, if you can just tell us.
yeah. We'll clarify this point. Raj Yoga, in Raj Yoga, the mind is the primary thing. All the focus is on the steadiness of the mind. So even in Ashtanga Yoga, we'll find that ultimately all the efforts are culminating into dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. As the Zen would call it, satori. That is the aim. So all activities are revolving around that idea where we are able to transcend the limitedness and experience something bigger, something better. That is the aim. So from that perspective, Ashtanga Yoga, it can be termed as Raj Yoga. In Raj Yoga, the primary technique is the mind. Meditation is the primary thing. So from that point of view, it is Raj Yoga. And at Yoga Institute, the emphasis is always, it has always been on the mind. Physical approach, as far as I remember, the way we learned it, physical approach was very minimal. Through physical activity, a good state of mind was to be created. That was the aim, always. All those who are teachers, old teachers, you will vouch for it, that it was the mind which was to be targeted. Mind had to become calm, mind had to become steady, mind had to become concentrated, it has to become strong. So that was the aim. So that is the approach we have.
नहीं ये कुछ मर्म स्थान होते हैं क्या बहुत?
Yeah, there are 108 marma sthanas. Marmasthanas are, these are the sensitive areas of the body where pranas are moving, and these are so important, and sometimes they are so vital that if small hurt is caused to these marmasthanas, a person can die. That is why they are called marmasthana, because they are very sensitive areas. So these marmasthanas are the centers in the body where energy flows, and their health is very important. So working on these marmasthana is suggested in Ayurveda. Also they talk about marmasthanas, and you will find acupressure, acupuncture. They talk about certain point. They talk about meridians like प्राण की प्राण वाहिनियां जो रहती हैं, इडा पिंगला सुषुम्ना नाड़ी, and there are other nadis yoga talks about. Now same kind of nadis are being talked about in acupuncture and acupressure also. They talk about 12 meridians, 14 meridians, more meridians are there, smaller meridians, but major meridians are 12 meridians. And on these 12 meridians there are certain points which are very sensitive, and these points are the energy centers which are regulating the functioning of that area which is covered by that particular meridian. For example, liver meridian. Liver meridian runs all over the body, but in certain places there are points which are directly connected to liver. By touching those points, the liver can be influenced, or heart can be influenced, or the lungs can be influenced. So for example, there's a point here. If we do this, this is the lung point, a very important point. If we just keep touching here and massaging here, immediately there's an improvement in breathing. So these are the marmasthanas. And the theory is that if there is an obstruction in the energy flow in any marmasthana, the organ related to that marmasthana will get affected and the disease will come. So when a particular system, it could be entire system which is getting us. So for example, digestive system. The digestive system may be affected, and through working on these marmasthanas, the digestive system working can be corrected. And if the digestive system is not working, it is simply for this reason that the energy is not flowing properly in these areas. You correct the flow of the energies and things become all right. This is the theory behind it. So,
Sir, mostly they are neurosensitive junctures, means they are neurons,
yeah,
and they are nerve endings,
yes,
and they are very sensitive, and that helps in endocrine improvement also, and secretions of enzymes because of that stimulation of that nerve juncture.
yeah.
And that is marmasthan is a means a yogic word, but it is a neuron mostly, I think so.
Yes, yes, yes. You are right. You are right.
In Shavasana, 32 marmasana where we actually relax. In Shavasana when we do, so 32 जो है वो marmasan absolutely relax, and the energy channels are getting open and relaxed.
हाँ, हाँ. So योगा इंस्टीट्यूट में पार्शियल शवासन में 16 मर्मस्थान बता.
16 है, right.
There are more, I think more than 108 marmasthanas are there.
तो जब वो पार्शियल शवासन करते थे ना योगा इंस्टीट्यूट का मैं बात करूं, व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू डू दैट टाइम पार्शियल शवासन में, व्हेन फ्रॉम बॉटम टू जैसे जैसे टॉप पे आते थे एवरी टाइम कुछ नहीं है, बट जैसे ऊपर आते थे पार्शियल शवासन में मुझे हमेशा हेडेक हो जाता था आफ्टर कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम द शवासन. देन टीचर टोल्ड मी दैट टाइम आप वो फुल बॉडी एक साथ में छोड़ दो, मतलब पार्शियल मत करो. So that time it used to happen to me in Yoga Institute.
It is for the simple reason that when we are focusing on too many things, we become tense. And that is the reason for headache. I remember I was learning ye Pratna Shaitilya, why it is so important, we have to understand. I was learning Tai Chi, and my teacher, he was observing me once. When I went to learn, first day he asked me, now show me what you know. Whatever you can do, just show it to me. And I started doing it. And he said, whatever you have learned is everything wrong. So I said, okay, you teach me. So he said, I will teach you only on one condition. The condition is that you will not repeat whatever you have learned till now. You throw it and learn totally fresh. That is the one condition. I said, fine. And then again, when he started teaching, I was doing it. He said, you are too serious. You are too concentrated. You are not loosening up. You are not relaxing. So your effort, your concentration, and your effort is creating obstacles for you. Let go. Let go. Several times he said, let go and do it in a very, very nice way. Do it in a playful way. So in our zeal to succeed, in our zeal to go ahead, we become very tense. That also becomes an obstacle. Ratna Shaitilya mein wahi hota hai. So if you are in too much hurry to do things, things will not happen. Things will happen only when the correct things are being done. So relaxation is the essential. That's why, then I realized, then I understood that they never say that I am doing Tai Chi. They say I am playing Tai Chi. It is a play. So doctor also used to say that in asanas also, in yoga practices also, don't be too ambitious. Keep doing them in a very relaxed way. And finally, because it is related, let me share with you. In 2013, twice I went to meet Dr. Jaydev. I asked him, now I have got time and I am doing regularly some of the practices. Would you recommend something so that I can experience something better? So he immediately said, no, no, no. Just continue doing whatever you are doing. But do it in a manner where you are able to go beyond that effort. Something to this effect, Dr. Jaydev also told. He said, keep doing simple. You don't have to do very complicated things. You don't have to do very difficult things. Simple activities are to be done, but they are to be done in a very relaxed. So we are doing Tadasana, we are doing Konasana. These simple asanas, surprisingly, I've seen wonderful results from very simple postures. Because although at Yoga Institute, many thought that I talk only about Yoga Sutras. So because there I was teaching Yoga Sutras only. But outside, where I was working or where I was posted and outside, all the physical postures only I was teaching. And there I saw that applying the simple principles of founder, very simple postures, they produce wonderful results in the body. Some people, they have knee pain, it vanishes, back pain, it vanishes, cervical spondylitis, it just vanishes. These simple techniques, if it is done correctly, that is the idea.
Sir, actually, without Prayatna Shaitilya, Ananta Samapatti Vyam cannot be attained. So first it has to be Prayatna Shaitilya.
See, I'll tell you one more thing now. I'm looking at the screen. There's Jinal there. She is in Thailand. Her husband, I saw him taking asana sessions. And he always used to take asana sessions as founder had recommended. As founder has said that this is the way of doing asana, same way he will do asanas and same way he will teach asanas. So there are quite a few teachers at Yoga Institute who have maintained that tradition.
Sir, actually, we should have one session of your asana. Like, we'll be ready with the mat and everything. Ek session, आपके साथ.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Wonderful session.
It's the principles are very simple, unnecessary, no tensing up, just doing it a very
Yes.
relaxed way, being fully attentive to it, doing what you say slowly, very deliberately, very consciously, without any jerks, and not being too ambitious, not being in hurry, as if all the time is there in the world. Next time I'll read you the passage, how the asana practice should begin. What should be the attitude? I told you about Alfred Janek. He has mentioned, one passage where he says before starting the yoga practices, what is the prayer said by the practitioner, what he says, and then he begins the asanas. So if that kind of the focus comes from urgency. If we think that we have got all the time, आज 10 आसन करेंगे, कल 40 करेंगे, 50 करेंगे, so there is no sense of urgency because we think we can keep on postponing. Suppose today is the only session we are going to do asanas. In what manner we will do? Is that kind of urgency available? We don't create that mental state. So right mental state is very important while doing asanas.
So next time when someone asks, I can say I'm playing asanas.
Yeah, you can say that. And both of you can laugh and then you do asanas in a better way. Joyfully you can do it. It's a joy. Working on body, working with body is always joyful.
It's rhythmic also, right? So it is definitely, you can say, rhythmic.
Stop here.
Thank you. Very nice session. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Very nice.
Thank
Every
you, sir.
session is like that, actually.
Thank you, sir.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, and patiently listening to me.
Nahi, not at all. It's a pleasure.
Yes.
So we can just keep listening to you.
Thank you, sir.
ठीक है.
Okay, thank you.
Then,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.